And we'll start this Penn Point now. This is Penn Gillette at the big old Penn Point at Rev 3. And this particular Penn Point is brought to you by Thrill List. There's something wrong with this glass. What I do is I ocularly cross-dress. These are women's glasses. I don't know what. So they don't really fit my head. But I wear them anyway. Because, I don't know, I like to dress in ocular drag. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about time. I don't mean time passing, but I mean time. You know, and there was this thing on the internet a while ago that they, this was way back when Godot and I were doing the radio show, that they did something about Ray Charles snaps on a particular song. And these snaps were like within milliseconds of perfect when he snapped back and forth. Now time, just like that, just solid time, is really, really hard to do exactly right. If you run a meter on this, especially without anybody else playing without music, I'm probably not constant as I talk and snap my fingers. I've always had pretty good time, and I've always had really shitty intonation. If you go see our show at the Penn and Teller Theater at the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, before the show, magic show starts at 9, and then before the show we have pre-show live jazz, and it's Mike Jonesy playing the piano, and I'm playing upright bass, and we play bebop. It's kind of like Oscar Peterson and Ray Brown. If Ray Brown weren't that good, because Jonesy's a monster and I am not. And if you come before the show, and listen, I've been playing for 10 years, you'll hear that my time is pretty good, and my Jonesy says my ideas for solos and for walking are pretty good, but my intonation is really not good. And I'm still practicing, still taking lessons, still trying to get better, but my ear is not strong. And I think for people whose ear have really strong ears, really well developed sense of pitch, it makes them crazy when people sing out of tune, and which is, listen to the radio, people are singing out of tune all the time. But I have to really work to hear that. And when I sing, I'm very out of tune. I have a lot of trouble with intonation and trying to get better. I'm just trying to get better all the time. But my time was always fairly good. And then when I started playing upright bass, started studying jazz, I really worked hard on time. I really worked hard. I started using a metronome every time I play and really listening carefully. And one of the things you notice when you listen carefully to time is that time is off as much as pitch. The Beatles stuff usually slows down as it goes on by a little bit, and it breathes a lot. Ringo breathes a lot in the tempo and in the time, and that's okay. It's okay. The Beatles sound great, and it's not usually very disturbing. When you start thinking about time, you start noticing it, and when you see like somebody like Mystere has these koto drummers. Mystere is the Cirque du Soleil show in Vegas, the oldest Cirque du Soleil show in Vegas. And they do this stuff with time that is, to me, not acceptable. And because when you hear the real koto drummers of Japan, their time is incredible. I went to see a sumo wrestling match that they had here in Vegas. I didn't watch the whole thing. I went there and they had koto drummers, these big, cool group drumming things that were incredible. They were just dead on. And when time is dead on, you get this feeling of comfort and relax. It's like when you're watching a comic if the comic seems really scared and you can sense blood, you start getting really uncomfortable. I mean, if you have any sort of kindness, I suppose for some that's the joy. But if you have any sort of kindness, you get uncomfortable. And when you're hearing somebody doing a drumming thing, if they're right in tempo, if they're right in the pocket, even if you can't quite hear it, it's like being in tune. Even if you can't quite put your finger on what's wrong, if it's right in the pocket, like the real koto drummers, you get this feeling of safety and comfort, like they know what they're doing, and you're going to be just going through the whole thing. And with the real koto drummers, you get that. For me, when I saw it, which was years and years ago, with the Cirque du Soleil drummers, you don't get that because they haven't studied. I mean, it's a little odd for these for them to think that the koto drummers can just like buy the drums and practice for a few months or a few years and be good, whereas the real koto drummers, as I understand it, practice their whole lives and practice together and get really, really clean and tight. It's kind of like if somebody bought an electric guitar and thought they could all of a sudden play like Hendrix and had the right fuzz tone on it. There's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of cultural stuff and a lot of practice and taking this wonderful koto drumming of Japan and bring it over here and just trying to learn it in a couple of years, or however long they've been running, which is whatever it is, 20 years. But maybe they've changed it. Maybe it's different than when I heard it. Let me tell you a little bit about Thrill List, and then I'll get back to what I'm jabbering about. You have that one friend who always hooks you up with the cool new bands before anyone else has even heard of them? Well, Thrill List is like that, but for everything cool in your city. Thrill List is a free daily email that sifts through the crap to find the best new bars, restaurants, events, and services near you. Whatever it is, they promise you it won't suck. Wouldn't you want to know about a restaurant with cheeseburger spring rolls, or an underground tequila library, or a Star Wars burlesque show? Sure you would. Plus, Thrill List even got a national version that gives you the scoop on the hottest new gadgets, gear, and funny sites across the web. Oh, and all this is free. Hit up thrillist.com/penpoint and you'll start getting plugged into Thrill List's sweet, sweet knowledge right away. Do that /penpoint thing. But so I think I can talk about this right now without appearing too petty. I was on Dancing with the Stars, and I was terrible. And I was thrown off instantly. I did the worst job you can possibly do, and I have no reason to believe that the only reason I was thrown off was because I was terrible. I have no bitter feelings. As a matter of fact, I'm a little bit proud of being the first off Dancing with the Stars, and I did a whole thing talking about this. But I want to talk about the time. There's this thing going around the internet of a lot of this finger tapping stuff. And there's one from, I think, Russia that's dead on and beautiful. And there's one of the original ones from some dance group where it's a man and a woman tapping on a table. And the time is off. This is dancers doing it, and the time is off. Not the overall flow. It doesn't speed up or slow down, but the inner beats, the beats are a little off from the tempo. Some of them are rushed and slowed down, and it's a little bit sloppy, and it makes me crazy, and it destroys the whole thing to me. And when I was on Dancing with the Stars, all I cared about was at the time. I wanted my foot, this big, enormous, ugly foot, to go down at the exact right moment. I wanted that to be dead on. And Kim, my partner on Dancing with the Stars, didn't once mention time, but her time was dead on. Every time she moved or moved her legs or anything, she was dead on, right on time. And also on top of that, beautiful and perfect and creative and everything. Kim was just wonderful and a joy to be around. And her time was perfect. And what I would try to do is make my time perfect. And I kind of thought that the important part of dance was in some way rhythm. So I would try to match, and we played to a CD, and then we played to a live band. We played there. And the live band, I guess only two of them are going to click. I think the drummer and the conductor are going to click. The conductor's also the keyboard player, are going to click. But everybody else is following off them. And they're all, you know, LA Sessions Cat super musicians, and they're dead on, you know. But the other dancers, and I don't just mean the other dancers like, you know, like Adam Carolla and, you know, Steve Gutenberg. I don't mean those dancers. I mean also the pro dancers, the ones that are teaching, didn't seem to give a flying fuck about time. So I'm watching the people who are going to win Dancing with the Stars, are going to fucking win Dancing with the Stars, are going to fucking be the best on Dancing with the Stars, and their time is off. I don't mean the actual winner, because she was a skater and her time was very, very good. But a lot of the others who did much, much better, their time was off. And the judges never once in the whole discussion mentioned time. It was all like, you're a big ugly son of a bitch, you got big feet, boy, you're a clumsy motherfucker. That's not those words. That's what they would say to me, which is, you know, certainly true. All of that is true, but I thought the idea of Dance with the Stars was to learn and get better, and I thought that when they, asked me to be on the show, they would have realized that, you know, I'm talking about size 15 shoes, and I'm 6'7", and I'm knocking on 300 pounds, and that's what you're gonna get, you know. And when I went on, I was, you know, over 50. That's what you're gonna get, right? This is me, right? You already know all that. That's not gonna be changed. Like, I'm not gonna show up looking like a piece of ass. You know what I mean? I'm not going to show up looking great in a tux. I mean, this is what I look like, and I'm fine with the way I look. And thank you very much for when people write kind things about how I look, and when I say I'm, you know, an ugly son of a bitch and so on. Sure, I mean, I look okay. I don't have any problems. This is the way I look. I'm used to it. But they could have gotten used to it too. That's my point. And I was working very, very hard on time. And what kills me about this is that in dancing, and it's not just Dancing with the Stars, I also watch stuff on the web of people dancing. I watch other stuff of people dancing, and no one seems to give a flying fuck about time in dancing. And it's so weird to me, because it seems like dancing time should be as important as drumming. I mean, when you do those head turns and stuff, it seems like they should be dead on. You should be right with the band. It seems like you should be like the drummer, you know? Like the great tap dancers you listen to are dead on time, dead on time. And if you ever watched, like, Michael Jackson, he's dead on time. I mean, also dead, but dead on time, perfect. So all I want to do is just talk about how, because of watching this thing, and I don't want to seem bitter, I deserve to be thrown off Dancing with the Stars, but god damn it, on that whole show, my time was the best. You have to think about the motive of the pharmaceutical companies. If they have millions of dollars to spend tarnishing the reputation of people who are in alternative medicine, why would they pick me